Roll call, please.
Here.
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 Commissioner Lawson,
Here.
Commissioner Reed. Here. Commissioner Rodriguez Evans,
Here.
Commissioner Sperber,
Here.
Assistant City Attorney Brandon Kendall,
Here.
City Planner Deanna Reed. Here. I have a quorum.
Thank you. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Mike, would you like to lead us?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I had to fall on the floor. Okay. So we're at 4.1, public comment. This is general public comment, although you can speak about whatever you'd like. Do we have any public comment? Do we have any general public comment? Okay, seeing no general public comment, I'm going to close public comment. And we're going to go to 5.1, approval of the agenda.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the agenda as written.
I second.
Okay, we have an approval by Commissioner Kramer and a second by Commissioner Rawson. Do we have any dissension? Okay, please cast your vote. There it goes. Maybe,
Not going.
Nope.
maybe. Pardon?
Voice vote.
Okay, do a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing no opposition, the motion passes. On to our public hearing items, 7.1. Pardon? Oh, we,
6.
Madam Chair, there are no minutes for
Okay,
approval this evening.
thank you. I didn't think so, but thank you. Okay, on to public hearing item 7.1, PCN 01056, CU 26-0008. Hi, Kim.
Chair and members of the Planning Commission. For the record, Kim Mock, Planning Technician with the City of Sparks. The item before you today is a request for a conditional use permit to allow for the establishment and operation of a recreation and sports facility, specifically a golf simulator, within a 2,240 square foot existing commercial building located at the Vista Village Shopping Center at 4830 Vista Boulevard, Suite 102. The shopping center is zoned commercial and is governed by the Sparks Municipal Code, which allows the establishment of a minor recreation and sports facility subject to a conditional use permit. The existing building is 12,734 square feet and was approved by a special use permit and constructed in 2006. The 2,240 square foot tenant space is within a previously unoccupied space. Entrance to the on-man golf simulator requires a reservation through an app. A minimum reservation of 1 hour is required. The maximum allowed reservation is 3 hours. Upon processing of payment, the golfer will receive a 6-digit door code as well as a 4-digit code for the golf simulator. Codes are unique and are good for one reservation only. No real-time bookings are allowed. Reservations may be made 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. A golfer may book an in-person lesson time with the facility's PGA Pro. This requires a 1.5 hour minimum reservation. A golfer may bring guests to the reservation. The maximum occupancy of the facility is 25 people per the current building configuration. The Sparks Municipal Code, SMC 20.04.009, requires 1 parking space for every 200 square feet of floor space for a minor recreation facility. The 2,240 square foot facility requires 11.2 parking spaces. A total of 221 spaces currently exist on the site, with 175 required for existing uses, including Go Golf 24. The existing shopping center was developed through special use permit SP 010022 with specific landscaping requirements. The intent of the landscaping requirements are to provide a high-quality shopping center design and provide for landscaping buffers along roadways and internal driveways. Staff believes the overall shopping center is currently in compliance with the special use permit. And here are some additional photos of the site. This is the floor plan with the proposed layout of the golf simulator. It will include 3 golf bays, a waiting area, and a restroom facility. There are 5 findings the Planning Commission is required to make in order to approve the conditional use permit. Finding C1 is concerned with conformance with the comprehensive plan. Staff believes that the proposed recreation and sports facility, golf simulator, will advance goal MG1 by supporting economic vitality and fostering vibrancy by providing a non-residential land use space. The proposed recreation and sports facility will advance goal MG2 by allowing the Vista Village Shopping Center to maintain a mix of commercial uses, as well as offering recreational and health opportunities for Sparks residents. Staff believes that the proposed recreation and sports facility will advance goal EV6 by supporting private investment and will provide a new service in this area, fostering diversity in businesses within the Vista Village Shopping Center and the city of Sparks. Finding C2 looks at compatibility. The subject site is zoned commercial and it is in a fully developed shopping center. 24-hour operations are allowed in commercial zoning. Staff worked with the developer during the original site plan review process to create a design for the building and detailed landscaping standards that are intended to mitigate the impact of commercial uses on the adjacent single-family residences. Staff believes that finding C2 can be made due to the design and construction of the existing building and mature landscaping on site. The subject site is shown in red and is surrounded by existing commercial uses to the north and to the east. To the south is a public facility, that's Fire Station 4 and a park, and to the west across Vista Boulevard is low-density residential. Finding C3 looks at impairment of natural resources. The subject site was previously developed in 2006 with 6 commercial buildings and no new construction is proposed. Staff doesn't believe the approval of the conditional use permit would impair the availability of natural resources or the region's ability to support its population. Finding C4 relates to mitigating impacts through conditions. Proposed condition of approval number 6 requires that all customer visits be by appointment only. Walk-in access shall not be permitted. Proposed condition of approval number 8 requires the approval of a temporary use permit for tournaments requiring group participation or any special event which would be held outside of the building or which affects normal parking requirements. The applicant has informed staff that as part of the normal golf simulation activities, there will be virtual tournaments where players at the golf simulator would be competing against players at other facilities. Proposed condition of approval number 8 would not apply to these tournaments as they require the player to reserve a standard reservation time. The intent behind this condition is for any activity outside of the normal day-to-day operations or any events held outside of the building. Finding C5, public notice was sent to 40 property owners and published in the Reno Gazette-Journal on July 2nd, as prescribed by NRS and Sparks Municipal Code. As of today, staff has received 1 public comment. Alcohol and food will not be served on site. Go Golf 24 is a facility for serious golfers working on improving their game. Staff believes that the unique nature of the recreation and sports facility use, availability of parking, and the existing mature landscaping on the subject site provide compatibility with adjacent properties and mitigate land use park planning concerns. Staff is recommending approval of this conditional use permit for a recreation and sports facility use. The recommended motion is on the screen for your convenience. I'm available for any questions, as is the applicant.
Thank you, Kim. Do we have any questions for Kim? Okay, I do have one.
Okay.
And so you indicated that they cannot, or there would be no food or drink provided on site. Can they bring food and drink in?
You know, I will have the applicant answer that,
Okay,
okay?
thank you.
Any other questions for me?
Any other? No?
Okay.
Okay, seeing none. Is the applicant here?
Ed, you want to come on
Would you
down?
like to come up? Does somebody have an extra pen? I forgot mine. Hi. If you'd please get your name.
Good evening,
Thank you.
Commissioners. My name is Ed Zadeb, applicant
Okay.
for Go Golf 24.
I'm sorry, I could barely hear you.
My name is Ed Zadeb. I am the applicant for Go Golf 24
Okay,
contingent use permit.
thank you. First, would you like to tell us about your project?
Yes, I would be happy to. So as Ken mentioned, that this facility is a 24-hour indoor golf simulator. I cater towards serious golfers. There are other facilities in town that provide opportunities for recreational golf use, and this is more of a gym, an environment for people to exercise their craft and their skill when they can't do it outside, weather, smoke, cold conditions, those kinds of things. My busy season is during the winter when golf is not as easy to do outside, and I slow down during the summertime when there's a lot more daylight and opportunities for people to get out on the course. Most of my customers are members, meaning that they pay a monthly subscription, and that gives them privileges to come in and utilize the facility at their whenever they'd like, based on booking and availability. I think there was a question about food and beverage.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and so I do permit my customers to bring in food and beverage. This would include alcohol drinks if they'd like. I do not sell alcoholic beverages. I don't plan on it, and I will not be seeking any kind of alcohol license or anything like that. This is very similar to a golfer going to a golf resort and having a drink, or stopping the golf cart or the beverage cart and asking for a beverage or something during the round. In my experience, most of the reservations and golfers who utilize the simulator don't bring alcoholic beverages. There are the exceptions where participants may bring a small group of people. As we mentioned, each bay can support only 4 participants. And when 4 participants show up on maybe a Friday or Saturday evening, they may bring some beers with them, and that's permitted. My terms of use and conditions of use prohibit excessive drinking, and that is monitored by a 24-hour camera system, which includes two-way voice communications. If I see any type of inappropriate behavior, which can include excessive drinking, I will first intervene verbally and ask them to discontinue that type of use. If that does not resolve the situation, I can remotely lock the bays, which would discontinue the session immediately. I think it's also important to note too that the maximum session length is 3 hours, which is a lot less than most people experience on a golf course, for those of you who are golfers. So there's not a huge opportunity for people to drink excessively. It would be very obvious if they're in there drinking a lot very quickly. So not a top concern for me.
All right, and then in terms of the age of the members, or since it's unmanned, but apparently it's monitored, which is good. So what are the age limitations?
Participants under the age of 18 must be accompanied by an adult.
Okay.
Reservation systems require me to use the credit cards, and I verify identities using email address and those kinds of things. If a participant breaks these rules, the terms of use and those kinds of things, I can ban them from this facility indefinitely.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Any other questions for the applicant? No? Okay, Thank you, sir. Okay, and
Madam Chair, if I may, just to clarify, Kim said we received one public comment. I believe that was provided to all of you via email, and it's in your packet here,
yes,
just to make it clear, and that was public comment voicing some concerns
Yes, sir.
that have been discussed. Thanks.
yes, and those were my questions pertaining to that. And, okay, and so we have,
Commissioners, I do have specific details to address those concerns, if now is appropriate time to share
Sure.
that, or, okay.
thank you.
So in the public comment that was made, there were a few points. The key point was around the unmonitored and no staffing. The facility at times may be unmanned, but it is never unmonitored. I do plan on being at the facility about 20 hours a week for maintenance and other types of activities, but I don't post business hours, okay? I've already covered other topics like remotely locking the facility and those kinds of things. I also live 15 minutes away, and I will go to the facility if I notice anything inappropriate or if members need help and assistance and that kind of stuff. I can be there in 15 minutes. The comments also alluded to 24-hour facilities becoming a gathering point for late-night parties and underage drinking and overconsumption. I cannot find a single instance of documented, a single instance of overconsumption or underage drinking. I base this on looking at, there are facilities similar to mine. This is not a novel concept. There's a franchise chain that runs 160 fully automated golf facilities. 24-hour fitness runs over 5,000 clubs. And there's not a single documented instance of a 24-hour facility becoming a gathering point. In fact, because the facility is monitored with cameras 24 hours a day, every participant is documented. I know their name. I have their email addresses, those kinds of things. Members provide addresses, those kinds of things. The last place I think somebody's going to go to have a party is a place where they're monitored all the time, and I can identify them. The controls are extensive, as I mentioned. The 24-hour access or late-night bookings are privilege reserved for members only. General public bookings cut off at 10 o'clock. And so I don't anticipate any just general public bookings, non-members booking at my facility at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Very good.
We've got some data that can back that up as well from other facilities. And
Thank
so
you.
to address the specific concerns there, staffing, I am there. I'm 15 minutes away. I do not provide alcohol. I monitor the situation continuously. And I'm even open to providing a 24-hour line that people can call to provide complaints. I'm more than happy to reserve those complaints on a log and allow this committee to inspect them or the city to inspect them if you'd like.
Very good. Thank you very much for your comments. Appreciate it. Okay, we have 4 public comments, 3 of them in person and 1 that we were just alluding to. If you could please put this on the record for JP Pinocchio. Thank you. And so now for the persons who are here, Chris Paraguay, sorry. Thank you. And if you could state your name for the record once you sit down.
Chris Paragary. Commissioners, hello. I'm here on behalf of Pinocchio Family LLC and JP Pinocchio. We are obviously owners in the center. We've been there since 2006, one of the original owners. We just wanted to, as well as to reiterate what he had put into his letter today, we are very concerned about the use of alcohol, unmonitored, 24/7. You can say cameras are the same, but as we all know, they're not. We watch our cameras, but there are times you go to sleep and you don't miss things that happen on your cameras. So a camera does not take place of a person sitting there, monitoring who's bringing in alcohol, how much is being consumed, and who's consuming it. It's very easy for kids to get a hold of alcohol. We have a very good family center, we think, that serves the neighborhood well. It's a good neighborhood center. There's a karate school in there for children. There's ballet in there for children. And there's a couple of daycares in there for children. So to bring something in that's open 24 hours and is not monitoring their alcohol use, we think there could be some issues there. And we would just ask the commission to please consider what that could bring into our center, how that could change it, changing it from what is a family center to more of a late night, evening type thing. And we feel that's really not the direction we're trying to go. So those are pretty much our biggest points we really wanted to bring up, that we're worried about the overconsumption of alcohol, the underage drinking, and that there's nobody there to monitor it and see who's coming in and what they're bringing in with them.
Thank you for your time. Okay, the next person that we have is Evan Previous-Shirk. Sorry. Okay, and you have 3 minutes.
What's that?
You have 3 minutes
Thank you.
once you identify yourself.
I am Evan Privé-Sherrick. My wife Chrissy and I own Golf Lab 24, which is a business identical to the one Ed is modeling.
Okay.
Our decision to open Golf Lab 24 was based on over 12 months of data that we received from an identical business in Phoenix. That business in over 12 months reported 0 incidents of overintoxication, theft, or vandalism. Our facility has not had a single incident in over 7 months of business. And however, there's a bar and restaurant in our parking lot that has had several calls for overintoxication involving EMS within that same 7-month period. Like Ed mentioned, the camera monitoring system with AI assistance is very effective. The two-way audio really helps to intervene right away. My response time is typically less than 10 minutes for a customer service issue. So if something comes up, it's very easy to respond. Can't really do that much drinking or cause much damage in 10 minutes. Our members are very grateful to have such a great place to practice golf. The community is very tight-knit, and most of them actually clean up after themselves completely before leaving. It's really surprised us. It's a great place to practice golf. Our policy in our front door clearly states that anyone underage must be accompanied by an adult. And to say that underage kids will pay $60 an hour for a place to go drink is a little absurd. There's a lot of other places they could do that, including public golf courses or BLM. The majority of our customers consist of avid golfers who practice weekly and are focused on improving. The facility closes at 9:30 to the public. Only members can book after 9:30 p.m. and between 9:30 and 7 a.m. It's very rare for members to play late at night, with the exception of a few who work graveyard shifts. A total of 18 bookings out of 2,228 were made between midnight and 5 a.m., all by the same few members who work graveyard. So I really think those concerns are unfounded, in my opinion.
Thank you for your time. We have one more public comment from Tim McDonald.
Sit down.
Yes, sir. And state your name, please. You have 3
My name is Tim McDonald. If I'm too loud, tell me. My name is Tim McDonald. I am the developer of Vista Village and the owner of 4830 Vista Boulevard. So obviously, I am in favor of Ed's proposal here. He's gone through all kinds of scrutiny. He's complied with everything that's been asked of him. The staff recommends approval. There are a total of 5 owners of buildings in the center there. One of them has, decided that he doesn't think it's appropriate, and I find it a bit ludicrous, being as that he owns a bar and restaurant 50 feet away or something. I mean, does he do breathalyzers on everybody when they leave? For him to surmise that all these things are going to happen when, these guys have shown you or talked to you about statistics and everything else, to me it's just ludicrous. Everyone has a right to open a business, and for somebody to try and stop it based on some perception that they think they have, it's just not right. And that's pretty much all I got to say.
Thank you, sir, for your time. Okay, I'd like to call for a motion. Oh, going to close public comment now? Thank you. Are there any other persons wanting to speak on this item? Are there any other persons wanting to speak on this item? Seeing none, we're going to close public comment. We're going to move on to a motion. Like to accept a motion? Oh, it's
Madam
working.
Chair, I move to approve conditional use permit CU 26-0008 associated with PCN 01056 to allow for a 2,240 square foot golf simulator facility within an existing building located at 4830 Vista Boulevard, Suite 102, Sparks, Nevada, APN 516-321-06, based on findings C1 through C5 and the facts supporting these findings as set forth in the staff report and subject to the 8 conditions of approval as listed in the staff report.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Priestos and a second by Commissioner Nieberlin. Please cast your vote.
Discussion.
Oh, any discussion? Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, please cast your vote.
Maybe.
Maybe. There it is. Did it click? There it goes.
There we go.
Okay, and so it looks like we have approval. It's all passed. Congratulations. And now we're moving on to PCN 05008, PD 230004.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the Planning Commission. I'm Dani Ray, Senior Planner, here to present this item to you today. I do have a couple of corrections. One is the case title is actually PCN 04051/PD 23-0004. So I apologize for that.
Okay.
Cut and paste error. And later on, I'll refer to another cut and paste error.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
on the slide, you can see the blue boundary of the 831 acre entire Miramonte planned development, which is generally located northwest of the intersection of the Los Altos Parkway and Belmar Drive. In 2005, the City Council adopted the Miramonte Plan Development Standards Handbook, which established land use designations, permitted uses, and development standards for Miramonte, and allows a potential maximum of 1,434 single-family residential units at a density of 1.7 dwelling units per acre. An associated tentative map also was approved for a 986-lot single-family residential subdivision. To date, 758 single-family residential units have been constructed, and 48 additional single-family residential units have been approved, for a total of 806 residential units out of the 986 that were approved in that tentative map. There were two subsequent amendments that further defined development standards and the location of residential development and open space. and allowed for the construction of the Vista Number 3 water storage facility and reduced single-family residential setback and lot coverage development standards for the SF6 land use designation. This request seeks to amend the handbook to modify public infrastructure requirements for potable water resources provided by the Truckee Meadows Water Authority, or TUMWA, to support current and future residential uses permitted by the handbook. So TUMWA has identified that the water system improvements proposed here tonight are necessary to support development of the remaining approved lots within the Miramonte plan development, and makes recommendation for either a tank option or a pump station option as acceptable infrastructure for potable water delivery. However, the tank option is not a viable alternative for the developer, as the tank would need to be located on Canoe Hill, as that location is where the elevation is such that the gravity-fed water delivery for elevations at and below 5,040 feet would be required to provide the necessary water resources to already approved development. Canoe Hill is not located within the Miramonte plan development, but is located in land owned by the United States of America and managed by the Bureau of Land Management, or BLM. Therefore, the option for a tank has been deemed not feasible by the developer. As proposed, the no tank option for water infrastructure improvements have been incorporated into the proposed handbook and require the construction of an additional pump station beyond what is currently required or allowed by the handbook. TUMWA has reviewed the proposed modifications and finds that they are warranted and acceptable. So this slide illustrates both existing potable water tank and pump station facilities, those that need to be constructed to serve future development permitted by the handbook. And please note that the north arrow is pointed to the right. So kind of flip it in your mind. The proposed amendment to the handbook primarily seeks to modify water infrastructure requirements necessary to support the ultimate build out of the Miramonte community. The handbook currently identifies 5 required improvements and/or facilities, including the upgrade of the existing pump facility, Vista Number 3. The construction of 2 new pump stations, Vista Number 4 and Vista Number 5, and the construction of 2 new storage tanks, Vista Number 2 and Vista Number 3. To date, the storage tanks, Vista Number 2 and Vista Number 3, the Vista Number 4 pump station, and upgrades to Vista Number 3 pump station have already been completed. TUMWA has identified that the water system improvements proposed here are necessary to support development of the remaining approved lots within the Miramonte plan development. Proposed modifications identified by TUMWA, and that's in Exhibit 4 of your packets, include the construction of additional pump station called Vista Number 6. Should the proposed modifications be approved, Vista Number 5 and Vista Number 6 pump stations would need to be constructed in the future. So this concludes the background and analysis portion of the presentation. The amendment to a plan development has 10 required findings, must be made by the Planning Commission. So for findings PDA, PDB, and PDH, the requested modifications to the handbook alter required potable water infrastructure requirements for the Miramonte plan development to include the construction of a new pump station. The construction of required water infrastructure supports both existing and planned residential demand within Miramonte and ensures the appropriate flow of water to the community, supporting goals MG6 and policy RC22, and is in conformance with uses permitted in the regional plan Tier 2 land use designation. Supporting PDH, adverse impacts to residents and property owners abutting upon or across the street from the Miramonte plan development area are not anticipated because the proposed changes will facilitate and expand the provision of potable water resources within Miramonte. And for finding PDC, fiscal impact analysis is not required because the proposed modifications do not materially change the type or amount of development permitted by the handbook. For findings PDD, PDE, PDF, and PDG, the proposed amendment does not alter the type or amount of development permitted within Miramonte. Rather, the proposed amendment updates the potable water infrastructure designed to support development already permitted by the handbook and that TUMWA has determined is necessary. For this reason, staff find that the reliance of residents and owners upon the provisions of the plan will not be materially impaired, are not anticipated to adversely impact properties within or surrounding the planned development, and are consistent. For this reason, or these reasons, staff believes the amendment furthers the interests of the residents and owners and preserves the reliance of residents and owners upon the provisions of the plan, will not be materially impaired, and the proposed changes are not anticipated to adversely impact properties within or surrounding the planned development, does not alter the character of the approved planned development, since single-family residential uses and the associated water delivery infrastructure to serve the development are already permitted by the handbook, supporting findings PDD, PDE, PDF, and PDG. And finally, for findings PDI and PDJ, as proposed, the changes will allow any interested party to pursue development within Miramonte Plan Development in accordance with the handbook supporting finding PDI. Public notice was given as required by NRS and Sparks Municipal Code on June 30th. Total of 559 notices were mailed to all owners within Miramonte and within 750 feet of the planned development boundary, as well as published in the Reno Gazette Journal. Do you want to note, there was a cut and paste error in the staff report under finding PDJ, naming Sparks Galleria PD instead of Miramonte PD. However, the amendment was properly noticed and was required by law, so my apologies for any confusion related to that.
Thank you.
As of noon today, there's been one public comment, which the Planning Commission received during Tuesday's study session. That commenter requested that an updated comparison of tank versus pump station options include additional analysis related to present and future cost forecasting, as well as maintenance and operating procedures. I apologize for not being here on Tuesday. I was away on a personal matter, and Scott was able to, great job for you folks. And
Yes,
that
he did.
concludes my presentation. Staff does recommend that the Planning Commission forward a recommendation of approval to this amendment to the City Council, and the recommended motion is here on the screen for your convenience. With that, I am here for any questions, as is the applicant.
Thank you, Danny. Do we have any questions of Danny? No? Seeing no questions, Danny, does the applicant wish to speak? Oh, there you are. It's like- Okay, so, no? Any questions for the applicant? Should he come down? No? All right, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we do have one public comment. I'm going to open public comment at this point, at least one that's registered. Mr. Ray Town. And sir, you have 3 minutes. Once you state your name.
Say my name. My name's Ray Town. Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. I hope you had a chance to read the extra material I gave you today or yesterday. I'd like to summarize that 3-page memo now. I'd like to take that opportunity. And then I don't know if it's protocol. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But my observation is the existing TUMWA report appears to be a preliminary planning and cost estimate document. It does not appear to prove that the no-tank option is the lowest cost, most reliable, or best long-term public infrastructure choice. Before the no-tank option is added to the Miramonte Plan Development Handbook, the record should include an updated apples-to-apples comparison of the tank and no-tank alternatives, including long-term operating cost, maintenance, replacement, fire flow reliability, emergency storage, backup power, and consequences if pumps, generators, or controls fail. I respectfully request that the Planning Commission require that analysis before approval or continue the item until the public has a fair chance to review it. A reasonable request would be for TUMWA to clarify in writing whether the no-tank alternative is being considered because of engineering necessity or because of land acquisition constraints. Whether a formal life cycle cost analysis comparing storage versus pump stations has been performed, whether the long-term operating and replacement cost of the pump station alternative are fully recovered from the Miramonte development, or whether any portion would ultimately be borne by the existing TUMWA ratepayers, whether the proposed infrastructure is consistent with the objectives and design philosophy of TUMWA's current water system facility plan, particularly regarding the role of storage in system reliability and flexibility. The TUMWA Discovery Report cost estimate did not include land cost, and therefore the intended conclusion that Ryder is paying more is deceptively misleading, and worse, the life cycle costs are significantly higher for the recommended no-tank solution. These questions go to the heart of whether the recommended infrastructure is not only feasible, but also economically and operationally sound over its full life cycle. That concludes my comments, and like I said, I don't know what the protocol is, if you can ask questions, but I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you for your time.
Yep.
Okay, is there any other public comment on this item? Is there any other public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none. Is there any discussion from the committee or from the council or whatever we are? Commission. Okay, thank you. It's one of those days. And so do we have a motion? Been a long day.
Madam Chair, I move to forward to City Council a recommendation to approve the request to amend the final approved plan for the Miramonte Plan Development PCN 04051/PD23-0004 based on findings PDA through PDJ and the facts supporting those findings as set forth in the staff report.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Kramer and a second by Commissioner Priestos. Please cast your vote. Oh, sorry, thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. Okay, and we have a unanimous approval. Thank you. Now we're moving on to 7.3, PCN 26-0005, CU 26-0006. Hi, Kobe.
Go. Good evening, Chair, members of the Planning Commission. For the record, Kobe Galano, planner here with the City of Sparks. This item is a request for a conditional use permit to allow for an unlisted use, a retail and wholesale recycling center within a 24,000 square foot tenant space within an existing industrial building located at 650 Vista Boulevard. Sparks Municipal Code defines and includes use standards for recycling plant and wholesale distribution, warehousing and storage, and general retail uses. However, SMC does not define or include use standards specifically related to a retail and wholesale recycling center use. SMC allows for unlisted uses that are materially similar to uses permitted in the respective zoning district to be considered by the Planning Commission through the CUP or conditional use permit process. The project site is currently developed with two one-story multi-tenant industrial flex buildings. In 1995, the city approved a special use permit that allowed for the construction of both of those buildings on the site. The northern building is approximately 126,000 square feet, and the southern building is approximately 111,800 square feet. The tenant space, Suite 102, associated with the proposed use is, again, 24,000 square feet, and it's located within the southern building on the site. I can go back real quick. If you can see my cursor, it's over in this area right here. There's one tenant little further to the south, but they're the second from the end. The proposed facility would only accept source-separated, non-hazardous materials that are collected from residential, commercial, and industrial sites. No municipal solid waste, wet organic waste, or hazardous waste processing is being proposed. An example of those proposed operations would include collecting metal cabinets used by industrial and commercial operations, transporting those metal cabinets back to the subject site, dismantling them into those metal components, and then reselling the metal on a wholesale basis. Here's some photos of the exterior of the building as well as the landscaping on the site. It should be noted, also proposed is a 6,000 square foot outdoor storage area that is located in the rear of the building, directly behind the tenant space. I included the bottom right photo to demonstrate that the proposed outdoor storage is visually screened from both Vista Boulevard, as well as the properties located to the east. The building location, as well as the topography, provide this screening. Moving into the analysis, staff analyzed three main components with this request. The proposed activities would involve the indoor storage, sorting, and repair of items, followed by the sale of those items either on-site or through wholesale distribution channels. All processing and sorting operations would be conducted inside of the existing building. No outdoor processing is being proposed. Also included with this request is, again, that 6,000 square foot outdoor storage area located behind the building. You can see that outlined right there behind the building on the right. It's staff's opinion that the proposed unlisted retail and wholesale recycling center use is materially similar to the wholesale distribution, warehousing and storage, recycling plant, and general retail uses that are permitted within the industrial zoning district. Access to the project site is provided from existing driveways along Vista Boulevard. Cumulatively, SMC requires a total of 28 parking spaces to be provided for the proposed use today, and a total of 138 parking spaces would be required for all existing and proposed use on the subject site. The subject site currently has a total of 287 parking spaces, leaving an excess of 149 parking spaces, excuse me. The subject site has mature landscaping strips along Vista Boulevard that exceed the 10-foot minimum standard as required by Sparks Municipal Code. The site has a total of approximately 2,000 linear feet of street frontage along Vista Boulevard and Loop Road, which requires a total of 67 trees in accordance with city standards. The landscaping strips on the subject site currently provide more than 70 trees, and additional plants and ground covers are provided throughout the site that have been maintained in good condition. There are 5 findings that the Planning Commission is being asked to make associated with this conditional use permit request. In addition, there are 8 additional findings that the Planning Commission is required to make when considering unlisted uses, all of which staff can make. Staff believe that utilizing the unlisted conditional use permit process outlined in Sparks Municipal Code 20.02.013B to allow for innovative recycling operation would allow for an innovative recycling operation that would support the start and growth of a small business and support of policy EV6. Additionally, staff believe that the proposed facility will further support small business development that will support the long-term fiscal and environmental sustainability of the city in support of goal EV4. As proposed, the retail and wholesale recycling center would directly participate in the reduction of local solid waste and increase local reuse and recycling, advancing policy RC11. For these reasons, staff believes that the proposed establishment of the unlisted use on the subject site complies with the comprehensive plan. Moving on to finding C2. All properties adjacent to the subject site are located within the industrial zoning district, with the exception of the property to the east that is owned PO, or public office. To the south of the subject site across Loop Road, and the properties to the north as well. Those are PO as well. To the south of the subject site across Loop Road is an industrial flex space facility. To the west of the subject site across Vista Boulevard is the Now Foods Health and Food Manufacturing Facility. To the north, adjacent to the subject site, are medical offices and a long-term memory care facility. To the east of the subject site are undeveloped lands owned by Northern Nevada Medical Center and city-owned land that is used for the Gandolfo Rodeo Arena and city maintenance operations. And then further east are the Northern Nevada Medical Buildings. Staff believe that the proposed unlisted use on the site is compatible with the adjacent surrounding area. The subject site was developed in 1995 with two one-story multi-tenant industrial buildings and have continuously accommodated a variety of industrial uses since its construction. Staff believe the proposed center that intends to operate indoors to salvage, sort, store, and dismantle material generates less trips as compared to other uses that may establish in the industrial zoning district. To touch on the linear footage to the surrounding properties, the memory care use is to the north. That is approximately 1,100 linear feet from the subject site. We took those measurements from the approximate outline where the outdoor storage would be, but it should be noted that no outdoor processing would be occurring there. The larger of the Northern Nevada buildings is approximately 1,500 linear feet from the subject sites. And then the smaller Northern Nevada Medical Building is approximately 1,200 linear feet from the site. And then over measuring from this parcel right here, that is currently owned, that's that undeveloped parcel owned by Northern Nevada Medical. That is that is over 400 linear feet from the subject site as well. And then the southern building down in this area, that's about 320 linear feet to the south. I would also like to highlight the existing topography of the subject area. When comparing the existing parking lot with the subject site to the Northern Nevada properties located above the subject site, the approximate difference in elevation varies between 40 and 140 feet. The peak shown in the picture shown on the screen between the proposed tenant space and the above property sits at approximately 4,530 feet, which is 120 feet higher than the subject parking lot. And in conclusion, staff believe that finding C2 can be made. For finding C3, the potential impairment of natural resources and the total population which available natural resources will support without reasonable impairment was previously considered when the site was assigned an industrial land use designation in the city's comprehensive plan. City staff does not believe approval of this conditional use permit will impair the availability of those natural resources. Finding C4 relates to mitigating impacts through conditions. Proposed condition of approval number 5 is intended to ensure that the proposed outdoor storage area does not begin expanding outside of that 6,000 square foot concrete area located directly behind the tenant space. Proposed condition of approval number 6 is intended to ensure that the business operations and proposed outdoor storage area do not generate trash and debris that could accumulate within the rear parking lot or the adjacent vegetation and hillside. In addition, proposed condition of approval number 8 requires the applicant to comply with all requirements of the Sparks Fire Department. This provides fire with the flexibility to determine if operational plans, material lists, et cetera, would be needed to ensure fire safety on the site. If it is determined that certain requirements are not needed with the current state of operations, the flexibility would allow our fire department to reevaluate these requirements in the situation that operations expand or change. The fire department has reviewed the request and has not requested additional conditions of approval at this time. For finding C5, public notice was sent to 48 property owners and published in RGJ on July 2nd, 2026, as prescribed by our NRS and Sparks Municipal Code. Moving into the additional findings. Excuse me. There are 2 different NAICS codes that encompass the general warehousing, recycling, and retail and wholesale operations proposed with the CUP request. NAICS code 455219 is for the wholesale and retail aspect of the proposed facility and outlines this U.S. industry compromises, establishments primarily engaged in retailing new and used general merchandise. These establishments retail a general line of new and used merchandise such as apparel, automotive parts, dry goods, groceries, hardware, housewares, and home furnishings, and other lines in limited amounts, with none of the lines predominating. Staff believes that the NAICS code that I just referenced captures the wholesale aspect of the proposed operations. The other NAICS code that we wanted to highlight for the wholesale and retail aspect of the proposed facility is 455219, all other merchandise retailers. That NAICS code outlines this U.S. industry establishments primarily engaged in retailing new and used general merchandise, except department stores, warehouse clubs, superstores, and supercenters. These establishments retail a general line of new and used merchandise such as apparel, automotive parts, dry goods, groceries, hardware, houses or home furnishings, and other lines in limited amounts. Excuse me. The other closest NAICS code for warehousing aspect is 493110. This code covers establishments that handle goods in containers such as boxes, barrels, and/or drums using equipment like forklifts, pallets, and racks. They're not specialized in handling bulk products or any particular type, size, or quantity of goods or products. Staff believes the proposed retail and wholesale recycling use is consistent with the recycling plant and wholesale distribution, warehousing, and storage uses that are permitted within the industrial zoning district. For project characteristics, through the CUP review process, staff have worked closely with the applicant to document the unique combination of actual projected characteristics of the proposed retail and wholesale recycling facility use. Staff find that the proposed conditions of approval for the proposed use will be in harmony with the purpose, goals, objectives, and standards of Sparks Municipal Code. For the numbers of employees, as proposed, the wholesale and recycling facility will initially operate with a total of 8 employees and is not expected to exceed 20 employees if operations expand in the future. These employees will be engaged in general office, retail operations, and salvaging, sorting, and dismantling of the material that is delivered to and processed on the site. According to the applicant, business operations for the proposed use will typically occur from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Sunday. It should be noted that Sparks Municipal Code does not restrict operating hours for businesses located in the industrial zoning district. Staff believe the proposed unlisted use is materially similar to both the wholesale distribution, warehousing, and storage use and recycling plant use that are each permitted in the industrial zoning district. Additionally, no residentially zoned properties are adjacent to the subject site, and business operations will occur indoors. Therefore, no conditions would restrict the hours of operations. No conditions that would restrict the hours of operations are being proposed by staff at this time. Vehicles to be used for business operations include standard pickup trucks, box trucks, and roll-off or dumpster trucks. Cumulatively, SMC requires, again, 138 parking spaces for all uses on the site, including the proposed use, and has a total of 287. The parking analysis submitted with the application does find that the existing parking supply is sufficient to serve the proposed use. The applicant has submitted a trip generation letter from a Nevada licensed traffic engineer, which can be seen as Exhibit 6. Engineering staff have reviewed the trip generation letter and did not recommend any off-site improvements. Therefore, staff do not anticipate any changes needed for access or additional traffic to be generated from the proposed use. As described in the analysis section and findings above, it is staff's opinion that the proposed unlisted use is materially similar to those other uses that I previously referenced. Through the proposed conditions of approval, separation distances, topography, and the proposed location, staff believes that adequate protections are in place to protect the existing adjacent properties from potential negative impacts. Therefore, staff believes the proposed use is compatible with the existing uses on adjacent properties. I can cover that one again. I think I already covered kind of the trip generation letter stuff, which was what's expected with 8 as well. Overall, staff believes the proposed unlisted use is materially similar, again, to the wholesale distribution, warehousing, and storage, recycling plant, and general retail uses that are permitted within the industrial zoning district and is compatible with the surrounding properties and existing uses. Staff believes that the required findings can be made and is recommending the Planning Commission approve the conditional use permit subject to the 8 conditions of approval. Thank you, and with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and the applicant's here for and available for any questions as well.
Thank you, Kobe. Do we have any questions for our staff? Yes, please go ahead.
Kobe, is it fair to assume that the land building sits on is zone industrial for at least 31 years?
We can do math.
I've not been here for 31 years.
I know the answer to the question. I just want to get it on the record. I remember them building.
Thank you, Commissioner, for the question. Scott Carey, Development Services Manager, for the record. Yes, Commissioner, that is a safe assumption. This property was initially developed in 1995. Doing the research, it was industrially zoned at that time.
Thank you very much. That's all my questions.
Are there,
I have
go
a
ahead.
question. The trash behind the 6,000 square foot area behind the building. You made mention that you have to keep it free of trash and debris generated by the retail and wholesale. How's that going to happen? Because the wind blows, and I don't know that there's not a day that the wind doesn't blow around here. And so who's going to mitigate that? And what's the process by which, if the trash starts overflowing or getting into other areas, who's going to go out and police it?
Thank you for the question, Commissioner. I think we would defer that question to the applicant. He is here. We have had discussions in reviewing the proposed outdoor storage area. And I think there are measures in place by the applicant, but I'd defer that question to them.
Okay, that's
I would
fine.
like to add really quick that, again, no municipal solid waste, wet organic waste, or hazardous waste would be allowed to be brought.
Understood.
Do
So
you have
I
any
guess
other-
I guess I have a question for
Okay,
that
can-
question for the applicant.
Should we wait until we do the finished Kobe's? I have a question for Kobe too.
That's fine.
Do y'all have, anybody else have a question? For it?
Commissioner Kramer's
Okay,
talking about
okay.
that storage.
Could you please bring up the site plan?
Would you like the one with the linear
Uh,
separation distances?
What I want to know is where's Swift in relation to this? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay,
Corner of greater distance.
thank you. Okay, just wanted to confirm that. Okay, if there's no other questions for the commissioners for staff?
No.
Can we have the applicant come up, please?
Good evening, Planning Commission. My name is Would you like a narrative or?
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about your intentions?
Super. So Modern Salvage, super exciting idea. The backstory is I currently own the Junk King. We do residential and commercial property cleanouts. I'm involved in kind of several different recycling projects in town. I also serve on the board of the Katie Grace Foundation, and we have a initiative to collect all the low density polyethylene plastic, which is plastic shrink wrap film. There's so many, freight and logistics companies in Reno, and they kick off a ton of this shrink wrap. And we've been going around and collecting it and trying to keep it out of the landfill. Also, things like textiles. So there's a lot of thrift stores in town that can't deal with their excess apparel and linens. That stuff can be baled and wholesaled as well. It doesn't have to go into the landfill. But in the course of our day-to-day operations at Junk King, we touch so many home goods. So we're clearing out storage units and basements and kitchens and attics. And, people might be moving out and we clean out their entire kitchen. And we end up with a truckload of useful home goods, dishes, bicycles, cooking supplies. And I think kind of to symbolize it, when you go to the transfer station downtown, there's a big sign there and it says, "No diving into pit," with 3 exclamation points. So people are risking their lives diving into the dump, trying to recover some of this stuff that people are throwing away. And as the biggest junk hauler in town, it's pretty heartbreaking to be throwing this stuff away all day long because we don't have a good option for this, micro industry within lowercase waste management. It's very unique waste stream. There's really no wet waste. So there's nothing putrescible, which is the key word there. Something that can rot or attract pests or, emit odors, things like that. And we don't do hazmats either. Typically, we're doing a lot of home appliances, a lot of furniture, and small home goods. So our intention is to be an institution of the circular economy and divert those high-value, small, useful things back into the community, whether that's through our retail store up front, where people can come and shop, or aggregating them into like wholesale recyclable materials, diverting them away from the landfill, and trying to do something more environmentally responsible with it. So that's pretty much the narrative there.
Okay, thank you.
So with that said, and very commendable, I can appreciate that. How are you going to keep the trash and debris in the back contained?
Yes.
If there's no fencing, there's nothing around it, and it's just a freestanding pile of whatever.
Yes, my biggest concern too. So this is kind of how the flow works. The trucks can actually drive into the building. So nothing actually gets like dumped on the ground or even on the ground inside. It's all, so this, junk hauling industry, they're all little trucks. Most people are just doing it in a pickup truck. So we have the 2 ramps, and if I can click back, I can, go ahead. Yeah, all right. There we go. So there's 2 ramps here, and you can actually drive in the building, and then we will unload, once we're all permitted and everything, we'll unload that truck, and then the stuff that needs to be fixed up, if we have to screw a dresser back together so somebody can use it, it'll come in. And so nothing actually gets dumped outside. We were considering getting an outdoor processing piece of this permit, and we actually delayed the application by 2 months because we were thinking about doing it, but we ended up deciding that we didn't even want to do it. We don't want to handle anything outside, particularly for that reason. If there's loose stuff going around, like, I definitely don't want that. So the material actually gets handled indoors. That's part of this whole special waste stream, is that it actually has to be handled indoors because it's still high value and, it's still like pretty good stuff. The other piece of that is the pre-crusher, which you'll see at the 3rd door from the left. The pre-crusher. We invested in a all-weather enclosure for that pre-crusher. So this is like a trash compactor on steroids. And we use hoppers to transfer the material in there, and then there's a big ram, it crushes it, and then it pushes it into a heavy-duty receiver box. And it has an all-weather enclosure on it, which is made with heavy-duty steel. The whole thing is steel. And it's right up to the building. So there's, specifically because I was worried about the wind, the rain, the snow, but mostly the wind. So we can transfer whatever material is not salvageable from inside the building onto the drive-on bridge, which is completely enclosed, goes into the compactor and pushes into the receiver box, and then that will go to the landfill. So that's a huge mitigation piece there. Out of any, chance that there is material that winds up on the ground, I would just appreciate the policing, honestly, because I want to keep it as clean as I possibly can too. I'm kind of a freak about it at the warehouse. So, those are our main strategies, but the risk itself is maybe not what it seems to be, but the risk itself, we're doing everything we can to keep it contained.
So then answer me this question. I'm a little perplexed. What actually is going to be stored in that 6,000-foot storage area, if anything?
Yeah. We have a 20-foot Connex box. It's a shipping container. There's currently nothing in it. We had some tools in there like garden rakes and shovels, just stuff that we kind of need day to day to clean up people's properties. We have the 2 ramps. We have our metal dumpster, which is for, ovens, all this kind of like home appliances we pick up, the structure to a trampoline, That's gonna be metal that, we kind of need to go to scrap. So we have our metal bin out there, but I mean, a fridge is gonna stay in that bin. So that's in the outdoor storage. The 2 ramps are out there, to get into the building. And, basically we have some trucks back there.
So you really don't have material
Correct.
out there that, like a dresser or anything, that somebody could say, hey, oh, this is really cool. I'm gonna borrow this for a couple of years and make it useful in my house.
Right.
So it's not really, you already have a Connex box that you could put some of this stuff in if it were of value or it stays inside the building. Am I following this correctly?
That's right. Yeah.
Does that help?
That-
Commissioner Rothman? Okay, that's very helpful, because I'm like, trash and debris, it's like, trash and debris are a lot of different things, but
Right.
what you're explaining is not really trash and debris, it's items, storage boxes.
Yeah.
Right. And that's
Kind
that's
of.
kinda,
Okay, thank you. That answers my question. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Madam
that.
Chair, if I
There is
could
that.
add, Madam Chair, if I could add, under the Sparks Municipal Code, Connex boxes are considered outdoor storage,
Thank you.
so that
That
loops
helps.
around that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That helps even better. Thank you.
And-
Thank you.
And if I understood you correctly, it's not large trucks coming in and out, it's primarily smaller individual private trucks.
yeah, they're typically, yeah, they are. They're never a CDL truck.
Okay.
It's not a tractor trailer that's hauling stuff in. Okay.
And my understanding from our workshop is that because there's a tenant on the end cap, that there's a respect for the access for that end cap tenant as well, so that they can move in and out free of impedance, correct?
There's BDS on the one side, they do auto parts, and then there's HLC, they do bike parts. And then the big one is Veritiv down on the other end. They do the most amount of trucking. I mean, there's probably 50, 60, 70, like 53-foot semi-tractors going back there every day. So, yeah, that's kind of causing the most of the traffic.
But in terms of the access for that end cap tenant that doesn't have another egress, your outdoor storage containers and trucks and ramps don't impede the flow of traffic for that tenant.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Nope.
Is it just professional haulers that are bringing in equipment stuff? And homeowners bring in stuff to the back as well? Or is it just, what does that end of the clientele look like for you?
So it's source separated B2B generators only.
Okay.
They have to be commercial operations. We don't want to open to the public, and we don't want to become a dump. It's just this, particular junk hauling industry where we're like cleaning out people's houses. Yeah, and that's enough. That's
Thank you for that
complicated in
clarification.
its own right, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions of the applicant? No? Okay, this is a public hearing. Thank you, sir.
Sounds good. The only thing I'll add, I think we got a letter from the memory care facility to the north. Part of the process from that outdoor processing thing we were pursuing was we did, we were gonna need to get a noise study. And I had the noise firm out there to do a preliminary site survey, and we didn't go through with the whole thing because in that process, we decided we don't even want to do outdoor processing, and it's not in the code, so it's not going to be happening. But the noise firm told me, hey, this facility to your north is really far away. Everything's going to be fine if you want to go through with this. It's, you don't have anything to worry about. So that was their upshot. That's not in the official report because we didn't actually complete the process. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
And so this is a public hearing. We do have a couple of folks who want to speak. The first one is Steve Mandela.
And Chair, if I may, and just for the record, I don't know if it made it into the presentation or not. I don't remember hearing it, but I might be repeating Kobe, but there was 4 written public comments on this that
I do have
were
those.
emailed to each of the commissioners and are in your packets.
Yeah, I have those right here.
Commissioner, I have copies of my comments that were sent in by email, but if you'd
Okay.
like, there's some pictures in the back which may even address some
Sir,
concerns.
sorry, would you mind stating your name?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
And sitting down, and you have 3 minutes.
Excuse me. My name is Steve Mandela, and we're the owners of the medical building occupied by Dr. Jim Lynch in the Swift Institute at the corner of 780 Vista Boulevard and Prater Way.
Yes, sir.
Now, would these documents be of interest to you?
Please give them to our, sorry?
Madam Chair, if I could, they have been printed out and placed
Okay.
in front of you.
All right. Thank you.
Well, thank you for taking our comments this evening. We have some concerns, and my first concern is, yes, notice was sent out on July 2nd, that'd be 4th of July weekend, and I live out of state, so I didn't receive this notice until really effectively this last Monday morning. So trying to compile and do some research. But we take great pride in the building that we purchased in 2008. We always had the intention of that, making that a really a Class A medical facility. It's been a true benefit to the community, and Dr. Lynch has just done remarkable things there. I'm sure you all know of his reputation, but out of all his practices, that's one of his busiest. But our concern is there's a lot of unknowns on this project that you're starting to ask questions. How is trash going to be contained, et cetera, et cetera. These are all valid concerns. I've gone through a lot of, in the last 3 days, waste facilities, recycling facilities, salvage plants. I do have concerns. But one thing I am just confused by a little bit is that the facility, the address is 650 Vista Boulevard, is for the applications for Modern Salvage. They got the name correctly. But Junk King also operates out of, they're also owned by the applicant. And then Junk King has, according to its own website, 7 box trucks and 11 dumpsters. And driving by the facility, I checked it out. There were 2, like a couple days ago, 40-foot open, I think, roll-off containers filled with debris. They were open. And there, yes, there is, looks like a shiny new compactor out there. But the book that I left shows pictures of baled items. Trash is a concern, as you brought up. There's no way to eliminate the trash. And according to my research, and I may be wrong, it also indicates that the applicant owns Modern Salvage, an automotive recycling plant. He can, confirm or straighten me out of that one. And also there is a software application development, also Modern Salvage, to expedite and to improves the handling of automotive and recycling parts, dismantling, fabrication, and repurposing. So we're concerned there's been a lot of waste, a lot of really undesirable use in this facility. This facility, we're all approved users of medical facilities. It's a very low density distribution park. And we have it was on the site plan, one that I think it was you, Mr. Rawson, asked to see you point out our building on Prater Way and Vista Boulevard. Our concern is Prater Way, that exit between us and Arbor's Care will be the main driveway for
Thank you, sir.
344 vehicles today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time. Okay, the next public comment is Marcus Clark. Yes, sir, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Marcus Clark. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Steve Mandela and his wife, Linda. Give you a little background. I've been in commercial real estate for 50 years. I know I only look 39, but that's my fault. I primarily do property management, so I've seen a lot of what I think are incompatible uses next to approved uses. No matter what, I believe there's going to be after-hours dumping that Mr. Elliott can't control. They'll do it to shopping centers. They'll do it to professional offices. there's really no reason I'm not going to get up on Monday morning because I live in Sparks, drive down Vista and see engines and transmissions and cut up fiberglass boats because I see it in the properties that I manage. So that's a concern. You can have a cleanest facility you can possibly have, but there are things out of your control. A little bit more background. 18 years ago, when I first met Steve and Linda, he came to me and we looked at this as an investment. He wanted to invest in Sparks. He's been probably the best owner I've ever worked with. He has a relationship with Dr. Lynch that is second to none. They have both invested a ton of money in this thing. He does things right. He replaces roofs. He replaces the rooftop HVAC units with all new ones. He enhances the landscaping. He enhances the building. He's not a third-tier owner. He does it correctly. I do not want to see a conditional use sacrifice an approved use because of the potential that a recycling plant has that you're not going to find in a clean warehouse distribution facility, which is what we have now. We don't have any problem with the use next to us. We see the potential. Even though the promises are good, we see the potential for what I just mentioned. And I did write some comments because I knew I only had a few minutes. Since I take Vista several times a day, I think the extra traffic is going to be pitiful. I believe he's got a good idea. I just don't think this is the place for it. Thank you, Commissioners. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time, sir. And now we have Zev Carlson.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the commission. My name is Zev Carlson. I'm legal counsel for Sparks Plaza LLC, which owns the building where Swift Institute is located. And Swift Institute is also a client of mine. Let me talk a little bit about legal standards. First, this commission's action tonight is discretionary. It's not ministerial. And your decision must be based and supported by substantial evidence. Substantial evidence is evidence which a reasonable mind might accept as adequate to support a conclusion. And I'm going to set forth some questions and some facts that point to there's substantial evidence to deny this application, but there is no substantial evidence to approve it. We have two main concerns. Is this use compatible not only with existing adjacent uses, but the code calls for or permitted uses on adjacent properties. So even if those properties are undeveloped, Northern Nevada Medical Center has over 45 acres between its developed property and its undeveloped property. You have to take that into consideration. And second, are there appropriate conditions to mitigate impacts? The impacts that we primarily see are health, public safety, and traffic. Now let me walk you through some of the details of our concerns. I'm going to start with traffic. In reviewing the original application, the applicant states, tenant intends to use the premises for the operation of a commercial salvage, reuse, and recycling aggregation facility. Sounds a lot like a recycling plant, which is defined under the municipal code, and which is set forth in my letter that I sent to this body. And that use requires a conditional use permit in the industrial zone. I equate that to, if you need a conditional use permit in the industrial zone, that means the use is one of the most intense uses that could possibly be placed into the industrial zone. That's not compatible with a medical-centric use to the north, to the northwest, and to the northeast. Second, The applicant also states that all operations will be conducted indoors. That's what the application says. And the application says that there will be no on-site processing. And I quote, e.g. grinding, crushing, or outdoor dismantling, end quote. But our floor plan has a pre-crusher outdoors. That's inconsistent. You can't say that's substantial evidence to support granting this application. And then finally, the traffic study. The traffic engineer says this is for a mini warehouse and variety store. That's how that traffic trip gen letter was determined, was on mini warehouse and variety store, not a recycling plant, not a commercial salvage, reuse, and recycling aggregation facility, as stated in the applicant's own application. We ask that you deny this application. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. And now we have Dr. James Lynch. Good evening. Please state your name. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners. My name is Dr. James Lynch. I'm a board-certified neurosurgeon. I've been practicing in Reno for 25 years. I'm the sole owner of Swift Institute, which is a multi-specialty discipline consisting of neurosurgeons, orthopedic surgeons, pain management, physicians, neurologists, physical therapists, occupational therapists, hand therapists, MRI centers, which are currently 4, and X-ray facilities, in addition to multiple walk-in urgent cares, of which one is in our Sparks office, which is our largest office. Our largest office and busiest office is a 20,000 square foot building that was shown on the map. There's a combined $10 million investment between the developer and myself in there. I've supported Sparks since I came here 25 years ago. I'm currently developing another center out in Sparks at Disc Drive, another 6,000 square foot with an MRI and orthopedic urgent care to take some of the pressure off it, as this is the most rapidly growing area in Reno, northern Nevada. In addition to that, that's a $6 million development. I've committed a lot to Sparks since I came here 25 years ago. I brought best world-class neurosurgery care to Reno. We won best practice to work in the United States 2 years in a row in Modern Healthcare magazine. Recently in Reno, Northern Nevada, we won best orthopedic center, best physical therapy center, best surgery center, Swift Surgery Center. In addition, at an administration, we won best leadership group, best administration benefits, and more importantly, we won the #1 award in Reno for best place to work in Reno. I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of the 400 staff that work for me. 3/4 of them actually live out here in Sparks amongst you. They're not the physicians who live down south. They're not big-time administrations working in Montreux. They live here in your community. They know everything about Sparks. They know what's happening here. This is our beautiful office. We win awards. We have 4.9 stars out of 2,500. You can look it up, Google reviews from medical patients in Sparks alone. 4.9 is nearly impossible to obtain. We obtain this because of our beautiful facilities and beautiful locations with a great culture, expertise, but more importantly, access for our patients. Every office of Swift, you look them up, we have 15 of them in the community. They're located in perfectly located areas for access. Access will be impacted by this facility, by these trucks, by these dumpsters. I work out here. I don't live out here, but I work out here. As I drove out here today at 4:53 to be here early for this presentation, I did a Google map to get out here. The only yellow zone in northern Nevada was the section from Vista Prater all the way past that building in 706. The only one in northern Nevada, and you all know it, 10 to 5, yellow Google Maps. It can be red, but it can be backed up to the I-80. We cover this whole area, Sparks, Spanish Springs, Pyramid, Fernley, Fallon, the Trick region with the urgent care orthopedics workers' comp. We're busy. That will impact it. More importantly, we talked about the impact. I drive a fast car. Not all my patients drive fast cars. I can't get out of Vista and head south. It is impossible. You're going to cross lanes. So not only do you have to not get on Vista, you have to get out on Prater. Why is that impactful? I'm going to tell you this, why this destroys my ability to put in a 6th MRI, which is needed. Siemens will deny it because
Sure.
this access road behind our staff will be
Thank you,
used.
doctor. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another, Jake Hargis. Okay, oh, you're right, you didn't. So he is in opposition to the project. And do we have any other public comment who has not noted on a form that they'd like to speak? Is there any other public comment? Okay.
Happy to respond.
Joe, are we allowed, is he allowed to speak again in response?
When you have a question, you close public comment and then.
Okay, I close, okay. Thank you. Closing public comment, if there's no other public comment. Do any of the commissioners have any further questions of either staff or the applicant? Okay, seeing none, then we'll move forward. And so now it's, do we have a motion to approve or disapprove?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the conditional use permit CU 26-0006 associated with PCN 26-0005 based on findings C1 through C5 and the facts supporting, this kept moving on me, supporting these findings as set forth in the staff report and subject to the 8 conditions of approval as listed in the staff report.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Priestos and a second by Commissioner Kramer. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to say, I think that some of the concerns that were brought up were certainly legitimate, and I think the applicant answered them quite well. And I also just want to say, if industrial uses aren't compatible in the industrial zone, then I don't really see why we have an industrial zone.
I will concur with Commissioner Pritzos on that comment. I truly believe that if we have an industrial zone, it needs to be an industrial zone. And the businesses that are located to the north and northeast and northwest are in a professional office zone. So we are doing our due diligence to make sure that industrial stays industrial.
Is any other discussion? Seeing no other discussion, please cast your vote. Okay, and the motion passes. Congratulations. Thank you. And now we move on to 7.4. Public hearing PCN 15025 PD 26-0004.
Good evening again, Chair Rawson and members of the Planning Commission. For the record, Kobe Galano, planner with the City of Sparks. This item is a request to amend the Sparks Galleria Development Plan, Design Standards, and Regulations Handbook to increase the number of allowed fuel dispensing nozzles from 18 to 24 and clarify sign standards for the Costco Fueling Center, which is located in the handbook's RSCO2B land use designation and called out in the handbook as a gasoline service station use. The proposed amendment also seeks to clarify the definition for a convenience store service station and add sign standards applicable to convenience store service station canopies. The Sparks Galleria plan development encompasses approximately 133 acres in North Sparks as outlined in blue. The Costco site shown in red is surrounded by commercial uses to the north and west and residential uses to the east and south. The Costco fuel station is located within the bottom left corner of the Costco site shown on the screen. City Council initially adopted the Sparks Galleria handbook in June of 2004. In July of 2005, a site plan review request was approved by staff, allowing for the development of the Costco site with a 149,000 square foot retail membership warehouse and a gasoline service station with 12 fueling dispensing nozzles. In August of 2015, the City Council approved an amendment to the handbook, increasing the number of those permitted nozzles for gasoline service stations from 12 to 18. And in 2017, excuse me, a lot of numbers, the 6 additional nozzles were installed. Submitted concurrently with this request is an administrative review, AR 26-0005, to allow for the expansion of the existing Costco fuel station. I just wanted to note that. The proposed expansion would allow for the addition of 6 new fuel dispensing nozzles, increase the size of the fuel station canopy from 5,282 square feet to 7,321 square feet, and allow for the construction of a new 40,000 gallon underground gasoline storage tank. The administrative review is currently under review by staff, and approval is contingent upon the proposed handbook amendment request. The proposed modifications to the Sparks Galleria handbook seek to firstly increase the number of fuel dispensing nozzles from 18 to 24 and add sign standards applicable to the RSCO2B land use designation that applies to the Costco fuel station. The proposed modification does not expand the area where gasoline service stations may be established, nor does it permit additional gasoline service stations within the planned development. Instead, the amendment provides additional flexibility for the existing Costco fuel station to accommodate increased customer demand and improve the layout of the fueling station. With the proposed increase in fuel dispensing nozzles, the existing fueling station will remain an accessory use as required by the handbook to the existing Costco warehouse use. The handbook does not currently have clear sign standards applicable to gasoline service station canopies. As proposed, gasoline service station canopy signage would be limited to one 20 square foot sign on each side of the canopy with a maximum of 4, so just 1 on each side. Staff finds that the proposed sign standards for a gasoline service station are appropriate given the limited individual size of each sign on the canopy and the location of the existing Costco fuel station within the larger Sparks Galleria shopping center. This request also seeks to distinguish traditional convenience stores with fueling stations from a gasoline service station use currently associated with the retail membership warehouse or Costco, as well as add sign standards that apply to canopies for standalone convenience stores with a service station. The handbook allows for convenience store service stations to be constructed in various land use categories within the plan development. As previously referenced, the clarification of the land use terminology contained within the commercial land use matrix is shown on the screen. Specifically, the term service stations is proposed to be revised to convenience store service stations. Again, the convenience store service stations are a standalone use that you would see typically with a Maverick, Extra Mile, etc., common gas station. The proposed sign standards for a convenience store service station within Table 20 are consistent with the existing wall sign standards for pad tenants, limiting convenience store service station wall signs to 2 and establishing a maximum sign area of 1 square foot of sign area per linear foot of building frontage. With the background analysis concluded, I'll transition over to the findings. There are 10 findings that the Planning Commission is required to make in order to approve to recommend approval to City Council, all of which staff can make. Staff believe the requested modifications to the Sparks Galleria handbook to increase the number of fuel dispensing nozzles, clarify service station uses, and specify canopy signage for both convenience store service stations and gasoline service stations are consistent with the comprehensive plan because the proposed modifications will facilitate continued support of commercial uses in an area planned for commercial uses since 2004, promoting compact development in a location where infrastructure such as sewer, water, storm drains, police, and fire services are available, supporting Goal MG6, Policy CF1, and Goal CC1. The proposed changes do not alter the type, location, or size of development allowed in the Sparks Galleria plan development, and therefore are not anticipated to adversely impact surrounding uses or the surrounding community's ability to enjoy the land abutting or across the surrounding streets from the Sparks Galleria Commercial Center. Got to touch on C. A fiscal analysis was not required with this amendment because there are no proposed changes to density requirements or land uses. The proposed amendment, if approved, will again increase the number of fuel dispensing nozzles from 18 to 24 for gasoline service stations, clarify service station uses, and specify canopy signage for both convenience store service stations and gasoline service station uses. This amendment is intended to support the increased demand for the fuel at the Costco fuel station located in the RCSO2B land use category and clearly specify use and signage standards applicable to both convenience store service stations and gasoline service stations. As a part of this review process, staff worked with the developer to come up with an improved vehicle stacking configuration that combined the additional fueling nozzles that combined with the Additional fueling nozzles should reduce the wait times for local residents to utilize the fueling station. Additionally, the addition of sign standards specific to convenience store service stations will provide clear requirements for regulation and staff administration. In the case a typical gas station is proposed for construction within the planned development in the future, there's 2 vacant parcels remaining within Sparks Galleria. Staff believe that these proposed standards are consistent with the original intent of the plan and that the proposed amendments will further the mutual interest of residents, property owners, and the public by supporting commercial activities that are consistent with the original plan. And finally, as proposed, the changes do not benefit any one person and will allow any interested party to pursue development within Sparks Galleria in accordance with the handbook, making finding PDI. And for finding PDJ, public notice was given as required by NRS and SMC on July 2nd, 2026. A total of 487 notices were mailed to all owners within the Sparks Galleria plan development and within 750 feet of the plan development boundary, as well as published in the Reno Gazette Journal. And as of today, staff has received no public comments in favor nor opposition pertaining to the request. Staff believes that finding PDA through PDJ can be made and recommends that the Planning Commission forward a recommendation approval of the proposed amendment to the Sparks Galleria Handbook to the City Council. Thank you, and with that, I'm available for any questions, as is the applicant.
Thank you, Kobe. Do we have any questions for staff? Seeing no questions for staff, would the applicant like to speak?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Riley Johnson with Core States Group, representing Costco Wholesale.
Okay.
With me is my team, it's Joel Howard with Costco Wholesale and Mason McGonigal also with Core States Group.
Would you speak up just a tad?
Oh, yes, sorry. We were generally in agreement with the staff report with exception for one item, the analysis for the signage addition for the gasoline service station. It appears to be a typo that does not match what the Exhibit 5 handbook red line shows. And we just ask that that be corrected in the future to match. Other than that, that's all we have.
Okay. And Kobe, you have that? Okay. All right, very good. Are there any other questions for staff? No? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Pardon? Oh, sorry, public comment. Is there anybody here who has not asked for public written up? Any public comment? Seeing no public comment? Any further discussion? No further discussion? Close public comment? And please entertain a motion. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move to forward to City Council a recommendation to approve the request to amend the final approved plan for Sparks Galleria Plan Development PCN 15025/PD 26-0004 based on findings PDA through PDJ and the facts supporting these findings as set forth in the staff report, along with the noted correction to the handbook.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Kramer and a second by Commissioner Nieberlin. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. Okay, and we have a unanimous vote. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Kobe.
Thank you.
Okay, I have to open public comment back up, just general, I guess.
Yeah.
Because well, before we get there, where are we? What general business? I forgot to mention this one.
I mentioned that was one of the 4.
No, this is a fifth one.
Yes,
No, that's what Brandon was referencing.
that's what Brandon referenced.
Well, we have 4 right here that were
Yeah,
here.
but that was part
No,
of the
one of the
packet
4
we got.
written public
Oh,
comments
oh.
that you received. Yeah,
Okay, all right. Thank you.
but I think we are on 10.1 public comment anyway.
Okay. Too many papers. Okay, were there any announcements?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, so now we're on 10.1. Are there any comments from the public? Are there any comments from the public? Seeing no comments or seeing no public wishing to comment, I close public comment Are there any staff comments or Sherry said no? Are there any commissioner comments? Being none, we'll adjourn.